Kutno Horska Zlata 12.
And remember, life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Fuck me, what a mouthful that is. Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've got one here from the Czech Republic today, and it is premium quality beer according to this. This is the Kutno Horska, I think that's how it's pronounced, and it's the Zlata 12, which is basically a Czech Pilsner. Now, the 12 on that does not denote 12%, thankfully. That denotes the Plato, which is 12, or the Plato value, which I think is something to do with the volume. I'm not sure. I should know that, and I've mentioned it before, and I'm a fucking idiot because I can't remember it. But there you go. You know what I mean, anyway. But that's... And somebody pointed this out to me, a Czech subscriber, I can't remember your name, fucking useless, losing the plot here, but thanks very much. And yes, that does make sense now, because the Czechs tend to do this quite a lot. They put the Plato value on their beer and they make a big thing about it, even more so than the ABV. So that's something that's peculiar to the Czech Republic. This lot got quite an interesting history, actually. They've got history that they can trace back to the 14th century, the 15th century. What's wrong with me tonight? 1418 was the first register of a brewery in this area, this Kutno Horska, which is east of Prague. And it's one of them beers that I've just discovered on House of Trembling Madness, and they've got quite a few. And I tried one of their beers last night, and I did notice it was really bitter, and I'm not sure whether that's a trait of Czech Pilsners. To be honest, I haven't tried enough Czech Pilsners. They are quite hard to get hold of here, and I was quite impressed that House of Trembling Madness has quite a good stock of this lot, so I decided to buy some. I couldn't review the one yesterday. I was desperate for a beer. I was watching West Ham, and I didn't have any beer in the fridge apart from the stuff I'm going to review. So I just thought, fuck it, I'm going to crack one of them open. But it was nice, all things considered. Anyway, as I was saying, they've been going since the 15th century, and they were going ever since. Very popular. Got taken over by Heineken, of all people. And what did Heineken do? They closed them down. And that was in 2010. But in 2017, somebody from the locality was really pissed off about it, as were all the locals, and I don't blame them either. And they decided to start brewing all the stuff again from the old recipes in 2017. But they decided to do it properly, and they've gone into decoction mashing in a big way with this lot. If you're not sure what decoction mashing is, it's basically where you boil some stuff up, where you boil the malt, the water and the hops, etc. And what happens is, when you're leaving it to cool, you remove some, you reboil it and put it back in. It gives it a bit more of an intense flavour. But the thing is, it's quite a skilled way of brewing, and it's very labour intense, and not a lot of brewers do it. It's more popular in Europe than it is in the UK. Normally in the UK, you just do your one boil, you let that cool down, and you throw hops in at varying degrees, etc., and it gives it your flavour. With the decoction mashing, you're removing stuff, reboiling it, throwing it back into the main mash. It gives it more of a flavour. But as I say, the reason people don't do it is because it's so labour intensive, and it requires more time for the beer to be actually brewed. So that's why. But it's impressive, and as I say, it's normally European brewers, mostly German and Czech brewers, that do this decoction mashing. But there are exceptions, of course, and I'm sure there are craft brewers or brewers in the United Kingdom that do that as well. It's not that popular though because of its labour intensity. So there you go. Anyway, enough about the beer. Let's get on and investigate what it is. Right, it's a 4.9% 500ml bottle. It is from the Czech Republic and it contains Munich malt and Pilsner malt. Now Pilsner malt, of course, you find that in a lot of lagers over here. A lot of craft brewers use it. And of course it's the number one in the Czech Republic. Pilsen is in the Czech Republic. It's where the beer originated from. All these Pilsners you see now, just German Pilsners, I mean the attempts at Pilsner they do over here, I'm not even going to mention something, well, Kestrel Pilsner. Do you remember that shit? Fuck it had nothing to do with Pilsner at all. But you do see beers that are labelled Pilsner. Even the Belgians do Pilsners as well, but they all originate from the Czech Republic. That's where it came. In fact, all lager originated from the Czech Republic, and if you ever tried a Pilsner Urquell, that was the first. So all your lagers you can trace back to Pilsner Urquell. Some people don't like Pilsner Urquell. They say it's got a very bitter, astringent type taste. That is characteristic of a Czech beer. I'm not sure whether it's supposed to be as bitter as the one I tried last night, but bitterness is a trademark of Pilsners, certainly North German Pilsners and from the Czech Republic as well. Sometimes you do get Bavarian Pilsners which can be quite bitter as well, and the bitterness comes from the hops. And the two hops that are in this beer, you've obviously got Sarts hops. Sarts hops are the most popular hops that are used in Czech beer, and German beer they use it as well, and Belgian beer too. So it's a very popular hop. It's one of the noble hops. It's the only hop that is grown or originates from outside of Germany, the noble hop I should say. But it also contains hops that are known as Sladek hops, which are a hybrid of the Sarts hops. And where your Sarts hops, the characteristics of that is earthiness and spicy pepper. With the Sladek hops, which is a hybrid, you get more of a fruity and a citrusy type of flavour from there. So there you go, that's what it contains. So all that remains now, let's get it open. Where's my cap lifter? Right, there is the name. I've probably got that name wrong, but I'm pronouncing it Kutno Horska. But of course, if you've ever been to the Czech Republic, you'll know that they have got some fantastic beers, and I do mean good. We've done a couple of gigs over there, one in Slovakia and one in the Czech Republic, and honestly the beers that weekend were absolutely superb. They had Staropramen for 90p a pint, and that wasn't even the best fucking beer there. But yeah, you cannot beat decent Czech Pilsner. I can smell this from here, it's absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that carbonation. That is like a tsunami. No, it's not. It's like a whirlwind. Look at it. It's like saying out the Wizard of Oz. Oh yeah, that is typically Czech. Big malt, slightly roasted caramel coming from that. And if you notice, this isn't the darkest Czech Pilsner I've seen. You do get them and they're more of an amber colour. But there's a fella in a pub in Maidstone called the Flower Pot who gets Budvar in direct from the Czech Republic on draft, and it tastes absolutely sublime. And it's that sort of colour. You do find with Czech beers they are slightly darker than your German counterparts, certainly the German Pilsners anyway. But this smells absolutely gorgeous. And there is a little bit of citrus coming from there. But it's mixed with that earthiness and the spiciness from the Sarts. It smells really good. There's a freshness, the clean freshness to it as well, which is really nice. Anyway, can't wait. Let's get it down the hatch. I don't know how to say cheers in Czech. Someone will probably correct me on it, but I'm just going to say bottoms up. Yeah. Now that's the bitterness I would expect from a Czech Pilsner. The bitterness I had last night was quite intense. I think it was the 14 that I tried from this lot, but I did notice that it was really bitter. This has backed off a little bit. I think the one last night was 5.7%, so whatever one that is, I think that's the 14. I think they've got a beer that is they've got two beers that are rated at 14, so it's one of theirs, or the original Plato measurement was one of the 14 ones. I think the Plato is the actual gravity. I think that's what it is. And there's two measurements of it. You have the Plato and there's another measurement which the Germans use, and it's like 14. Was that the wall? Oh, I don't know. It's all science to me. Let's get another go on this. That is really nice. And the finish, it really does come through with that earth and the peppery spice from them Sarts hops. It really does shine through on that. That's where your bitterness comes from. And there is a sweetness to the malt, but that just goes on the finish with them lovely Sarts hops. I remember when I first tried Budvar, when it first came over here, and of course Budvar always comes from the Czech Republic. It's not brewed anywhere under license, it is brewed over there, as is the Pilsner Urquell. And I always noticed that it had a bitter taste to it. I liked it, and it was quite strong. And I'm going back 20 years now. I'm going back to the 1990s, the early 90s, when it first came over here. We used to go to a club. It was a club, and you get a late drink in there. It was open till 3 o'clock. Fucking some of the stories I could tell you about this place, but it was in Finsbury Park. It was a place called the Mousetrap. It was like a moddy skinhead type night, and we used to go down there because you could get a late drink, and they had Budvar on tap. And where I'd been drinking other lagers that night, I'd go in there and have a Budvar, and you could immediately taste the difference. There was a lot of bitterness to it, and at first it wasn't pleasant, but then you got used to it and you got into the swing of things, and then you just fucking caned it. And it was one of the stronger beers at the time. It was over 5% at that time, I think. And yeah, it just went down really well. And you imagine drinking that from sort of, I don't know, 10:30 till about 3 in the morning. Yeah, you'd end up pretty mashed. This is nice, and it's typical. It is a typical, what I would consider a Czech Pilsner, a typical Czech Pilsner. It's got that nice bitterness. The Germans do it. The Germans do it differently though, but there are exceptions. There's a couple of East German brewers, notably the one that's based in Chemnitz, the Einsiedler Brewery, who do one called Böhmisch, which is German for Bohemia, which is a region of the Czech Republic. And that is an exceptionally good Pilsner, but it reminds me very much of a sweetened Czech Pilsner. If you can imagine where they've laid off the hops a little bit and gone a bit more with the malt. But this is all about the hops. Them Sarts hops really do shine through it. It's got a lot of that Sarts hops character. And it is not bad at all, I have to say. It's got a lovely bready stroke caramel malt, if you can imagine that, So where some of them malts have been roasted, you do get some caramel, but you're also getting some of the bready type malts on there as well. And it ain't bad at all. I quite like that. So what's the verdict on Kutno Horska Zlata 12? Well, first beer I've reviewed from there, not the first one I've had. I had the 14 last night, and I did find that quite bitter. I'll get hold of some of that again and I'll review it. But this stuff is just about right, in my opinion. This is their flagship beer, and I can see why. It's a good one. I really like it, and you can tell that they've really kept up that Czech tradition of brewing Pilsner in the Czech style, and it's good. It does everything a Czech Pilsner should do. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, and the only reason I'm not going to give it a 10 out of 10 is because I have tasted better. I've tasted better in the Czech Republic, certainly. Some of the obscure beers I was drinking over there were really good, but I've also tasted some better Czech Pilsners over here. This is a good one. Don't get me wrong, it sounds like I'm knocking it. I'm giving it 9 out of 10, but I have tasted better. I would definitely recommend it if you can get hold of it. The House of Trembling Madness is the only one that I know that sells this at the moment. But obviously, if you're in the Czech Republic and you see a bottle of this stuff, I mean, you're spoiled for choice over there. You really are. And I'm not sure what the prices are like over there now. I imagine they've caught up a little bit. I'm going back, when was that? That would have been 2013 maybe. I'm going back, was when I was over there. And yeah, it worked out to 90p a pint. The euro was quite weak and the pound was quite strong then. And yeah, we just cleaned up basically. And we were getting free beers as well. So yeah, it was just absolute carnage. I tried absinthe over there for the first time as well. Fuck that shit, never again. That was horrible. But this ain't bad. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I'm definitely going to recommend it. And if you can get hold of it, I'll tell you how much it is as well. I thought I'd find that bit of paper I had to clear up the other day. And yeah, here it is here. What are we looking at? We have got, that's what I was drinking last night. It's the Kutno Horska. It was their Martzen, basically. This stuff, that was $2.65, which I think is quite reasonable. They also do one called Canik 12. I mean, that's a different brewery. I'm talking bollocks. The one at the Kutno Horska Zlata, I think Loreczka maybe, I don't know. 14, that was their Martzen. And that was nice, but it was very bitter. And to be honest, it didn't really taste like a Martzen. Not a Martzen that I know anyway. But there you go. 9 out of 10, recommended. And remember, beer is working class champagne.